Here are moments in life when a thought lingers far longer than it should. A face, a memory, presence that refuses to fade. You tell yourself it's coincidence, yet something deeper whispers otherwise. What if it isn't chance at all? What if the reason your mind drifts back to that one person is because your spirit already knows the truth? Tonight, we journey into the unseen, into the mysterious pull of the soul. Because sometimes, sir, if this world is something far greater, unfinished solar energy chords and vibrational alignment lessons your spirit is seeking as synchronicities, as divine signals. The pull of karmic or soulmate connections, why star tracks are one of the deepest spiritual reasons why someone is returning to your mind, no matter how much you should remain on the phone. The idea is that before we come into this world, our souls make agreements with other souls, and these agreements are not about material things, but about growth, lessons, and experiences that shape the path of our spirit. And you can't stop thinking about someone. It may not be simple attraction or longing. It may be your soul reminding you of an agreement that still has to be fulfilled. And I think these contracts often carry the weight of purpose. They pull us toward the people we are meant to learn from or teach, the ones who will push us toward our highest growth, even if it's uncomfortable. Think about it. There are countless people you pass every single day, yet only a few leave a lasting imprint on your mind and heart. This is not random. It is a sign that something greater is at play. When you feel that magnetic draw, it could be an echo of a promise made long before you were born. These unfinished soul contracts don't always show up in romantic ways. Sometimes they arrive as friendships, mentors, or even as difficult relationships that test your patience and resilience. The contract could be about healing old wounds, and about forgiveness, about learning self-worth, or about teaching compassion. The persistence of these thoughts is your spirit nudging you to pay attention. It's saying, there's something here you haven't resolved. There's a purpose you haven't honored, and until that lesson is learned, until the energy is balanced, if the soul will continue to remind you of that person. It's not punishment, it's guidance. It's a spiritual invitation to complete what was started. At times, you may resist it, as you may tell yourself that it's just your imagination or a passing obsession. But the more you push it down, the louder the reminder becomes, because the soul does not forget. It knows what it came here to do. And when you keep thinking about someone, it could be that the universe is urging you to face the truth of that unfinished agreement. Only when the contract is honored, whether by growth, forgiveness, or letting go, will your spirit finally feel free. And I think that's the same way all vibrational chords and vibrational alignment may explain why certain people linger in your mind long after they've left your physical space. And I think that's the same way all interaction we have with another person creates an energetic exchange. And when the connection is strong and an invisible cord is formed between your spirit and theirs, these cords act like channels transmitting emotions, thoughts, and I think that's the same way all the energy back and forth. That is why you can suddenly feel someone's presence even when they're not around, or why their name comes to your mind out of nowhere. The bond exists beyond the material world and woven into the unseen layers of energy that connect all beings. When two people vibrate on similar frequencies, that's the same way auto connection feels natural and magnetic. You might notice how conversations flow easily, while all day around them feels grounding, inspiring, or even electrifying. This vibrational alignment is not a coincidence. a coincidence. It's a sign that your energies recognize one another, as though both souls are tuned to the same station. This alignment explains why some people immediately feel familiar, and I think that's the same way, like you've known them before, while others fade into the background without leaving any lasting impression. The energy cords are not always soft and comforting. They can also be heavy, binding you to emotions of the past. If someone has caused you pain, if there are unresolved feelings, that's the same way all the way around. Or if you've given a large part of yourself to them emotionally, the cord may carry that energy back and forth. This is why their presence in your mind can feel intrusive, almost haunting at times. It's not simply memory, it's energy moving along a pathway that still exists. Until that cord is healed, balanced, thus the pull will remain. Vibrational alignment also shifts over time as you grow and change, and you may find that your spirit no longer resonates with someone you once felt deeply connected to, while at other times the alignment strengthens and pulls you closer. When someone stays in your thoughts, it may be your spirit sensing that your frequencies are still tuned to one another. It is a call to understand the role they play in your journey, whether the cord exists for healing, for love, or for closure. That's the same way all that around. The constant reminder is an invitation to face it consciously rather than ignore it. The lessons your spirit is seeking often hide within the people you can't stop thinking about. When someone repeatedly enters your thoughts, it may not be about longing for them, but about what your soul is trying to learn through their presence. Every relationship, whether fleeting or lifelong, carries within it a lesson meant to guide you closer to your truest self. Sometimes the lesson is about patience, sometimes about boundaries, sometimes about love, forgiveness, or self-respect. And I think that's the same way all the way around. The people who weigh heavily on your mind are often the ones who mirror the very lessons your spirit is craving to master. It's easy to think of certain connections as random or even inconvenient, yet the truth is that your spirit is deliberate. If someone won't leave your thoughts, and I think that's the same way all the way, or maybe because your soul is using them as a mirror to reflect what you have yet to see within yourself. And I think that's the same way all the way around. They may awaken wounds you thought were healed or highlight qualities you haven't fully embraced. This is not about them being the answer, but about the growth they inspire within you. The pull you feel is a signal that something unfinished remains within your own journey. Often, and lessons way all the way on to there, these lessons are uncomfortable. You may be forced to confront fears of abandonment, feelings of unworthiness, or the challenge of letting go. The person you keep thinking about may be the one who pushes you to face these truths, not to cause suffering, but to help you rise above it. In this way, your spirit uses the connection as a classroom. The constant thoughts are like the ringing of a bell, calling you back to what must be learned before you can truly move forward. And I think it's also possible that the lesson is one of love and expansion, reminding you of your capacity for empathy, compassion. And I think that's the same way all the way around, and vulnerability. Sometimes your spirit keeps pulling you not to heal a wound, but to open your heart wider than before. The lesson may be to trust, to connect, or to see beyond appearances. Whatever the lesson may be, I think that's to push forward way all the way around. It's rarely about the person themselves, it's about what comes because of the connection. And I think that's the same way all the way around. Until the lesson is understood, your soul will keep nudging you with their memory, urging you toward growth. The synchronicities as divine signals are one of the clearest signs that your spirit is being guided toward understanding why someone keeps returning to your thoughts. Synchronicities are not coincidences, and I think that's the same way all the way around. They are meaningful patterns arranged by the universe to draw your attention to something significant. And I think that's the same way all around. When you keep thinking about a person and then their name appears in random places, you run into them unexpectedly. And that's the same way all the way around. Or you notice repeated numbers and signs whenever they cross your mind. These are not accidents. They are spiritual breadcrumbs, saying away all reminders that your connection with this person carries a deeper purpose that cannot be ignored. Your mind might dismiss these occurrences as chance, but your spirit recognizes them as messages. And I think that's the same way all the way around. The repetition of their presence in your external world mirrors as the persistence of their presence in your inner world. These synchronicities are the universe's way of saying, pay attention. This matters. Sometimes the signals are gentle, like hearing a song that reminds you of them exactly when you're trying to forget. Other times, and I think that's the same way all the way on, they're undeniable, like receiving a call from them the very moment you were thinking about reaching out. And I think that's the same way all the way around. The alignment is too precise to be random. These divine signals often come when you're at a crossroads. They show up to confirm that your thoughts and your soul's path are aligned. If the person is meant to teach you something, the synchronicities will keep nudging you toward the lesson. If they are meant to return to your life, then universe will keep weaving their presence into your reality until you cannot ignore it. The persistence of these signs is not to confuse you, but to guide you toward clarity. Yet it's important to understand that not every synchronicity means a lifelong bond. Sometimes the signals are there to remind you of healing still needed within yourself. The person may be the trigger. I think that's the same way all the way around, but the true message is about your own growth. When you interpret synchronicities with awareness, way all the way around, you begin to see that the universe is not pushing you toward obsession. It's drawing your attention to the transformation waiting to unfold through this connection. The more you open your heart and trust these signals, the more you align with the wisdom of your spirit. And it already knows why that person lingers so strongly in your thoughts. And I think that's the same way. The pull of karmic or soulmate connections is often the most powerful reason why a certain person refuses to leave your thoughts. And I think these connections go beyond the surface of attraction or emotional attachment. They are rooted in a bond that feels timeless, way all the way around, as if you've known the person long before you met them in this life. When you experience a karmic or soulmate connection, the spirit recognizes them instantly, and that recognition creates a magnetic force that pulls you toward them even when circumstances make it difficult to be close. This pull is not always about romance. It can exist in friendships, mentors, or even challenging relationships that shape your destiny. Karmic connections are born from unfinished energy between two souls. They often come with intensity, turbulence, and lessons that cannot be ignored. That's to say, way around, these relationships may feel overwhelming because they are designed to push you into grow healing and self-awareness. You may think about the person constantly because your spirit is urging you to confront what has been left unresolved across lifetimes. The pull is strong not because of comfort, but because of the transformation required. These bonds can feel like fire, burning brightly, teaching quickly, and leaving a lasting imprint. Soulmate connections, on the other hand, carry a gentler but equally unshakable force. A soulmate is someone whose energy aligns so naturally with yours that you feel at home in their presence. And I think that's the same way all the way around. Often is your spirit's way of reminding you of this resonance. Soulmates may arrive to walk beside you for a season or a lifetime, but their purpose is always to bring depth, meaning, and love into your journey. the same way, that's the same way or way around. The thoughts that linger around them are not distractions. They are echoes of your spirit's recognition of that rare bond. The pull of these connections can feel both comforting and confusing. On one hand, it reassures you that there is more to life than chance encounters. On the other, and faintly challenges you to discern whether the connection is meant to last or simply to teach. What remains constant is the undeniable draw, an energy that cannot be silenced by distance, time, or logic. And when someone stays on your mind in this way, it is often the sign of a karmic or soulmate tie, reminding you that your spirit is intertwined with theirs for reasons larger than this moment. And I think that's the same way all of it. Think about why someone stays in your mind. It becomes clear that it is never random. Your spirit does not waste energy holding on to people without reason. Sometimes it is an unfinished soul contract calling you to honor what has not yet been completed. Sometimes it is the energy cord reminding you of a bond that still flows between you. And I think that's the same way all the way around. Other times it is the lesson your spirit is seeking, pulling you toward growth you cannot achieve alone. And then there are the synchronicities, the divine signals showing up in your path to confirm that what you feel is real and what you see is not by chance. And for many, it is the pull of karmic or soulmate connections, those timeless bonds that defy explanation and logic, but continue to shape the very fabric of your journey. The truth is, the person who lingers in your thoughts is not just a distraction or an accident. They are part of your spiritual story. They appear in your mind because your soul recognizes their role in your evolution. Whether they are here to teach, to heal, to love, or to test, their presence is an invitation to look deeper within yourself. Every repeated thought is a doorway into understanding who you are and what you are here to learn. So when you find yourself wondering why someone keeps crossing your mind, take a moment to listen, not just to your thoughts, but to your spirit. The answer lies not in forcing the memory away, but in understanding the message it carries. Because when your spirit keeps pulling you toward a certain person, it is never without purpose. It is always leading you closer to truth, closer to healing, and closer to the greater design of your soul's journey.